coffee break and a quick exhortation for the brothers and sisters in the truth. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? And I wanted to give a real quick exhortation for brothers and sisters to continue to endure, right? You are approaching the final hours, right? You are approaching the time of the return of the Son of Man shortly, right? But before all those things happen, and we are able to be translated over into the kingdom to, enjoy our kingdom, the Most High God, we have to endure. We have to complete the mission. We have to go through the trials, the tribulations, and the things that this world has to offer, right? We're not there yet. We're still in captivity to this day, and we have to endure in these last days, right? You cannot give up. You cannot wax faint. You cannot get faint-hearted and stop believing. You can't fall away. You can't take your hand off the plow. Endurance is the key, right? You have to say that over and over in your head sometimes. Endurance is the key. I have to endure, right? And the definition of endurance, right, is the fact or power of enduring an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way, right? So you have to endure a difficult and unpleasant, right, process, right? Walking through this life, especially being in this truth, you're going to be hit with all different manners of, wickedness in this world, right? Whether it be, lust or, I just really don't even have to go through the whole list. You know what it is, wickedness of what this world has to offer, the music, the conversation, what you see on social media or the movies, or, wicked doctrines and false religion, so on and so forth. The things you learn in your schools, your institutions, all this type of stuff is wickedness. The false prophets, everything in this world is wickedness, man. And it's going to get worse and worse. So by you walking and being an avid follower of Yahushua, whom the world calls Christ, you have to know and be aware that these things are going to increase and increase. And as these things increase, you have to increase in your works and in your faith in these last days. Right, let me get a precept real quick. The book of 2nd Esdras, right, chapter 14. Right, the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse number 17. It says, "For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein." So the Lord said, as the world goes on and gets weaker and weaker as it ages, more wickedness is going to increase, right? Because the Lord, His laws, His understanding, His statutes, His commandments, the things that He's given to His children have waxed away, right? They're not being taught in this world, especially in this land, Babylon the Great, right? They're not being, they're not on the forefront. The only way you can get to them is through the access through the prophets, man, right? And you have to endure these evil times because everything is starting to increase more and more. Everything that is praised in this world is contrary to the Most High. Everything, right? But the Lord say, look, you're going to have to put your hand on the plow and keep your mind and your eyes single, right? And look forward to the kingdom and don't turn to the left nor to the right, but stay focused, right? And don't have no relationship with what this world has to offer, right? But rather do this, right? Let's get Ephesians, right? The book of Ephesians real quick. All right, let's get the book of Ephesians. All right, chapter 5 and verse number 11, it reads, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them." So this world is full of darkness, full of wickedness. It's madness, right? And the Lord tells you not to have any type of relationship, right? Because even, what is deemed, righteous in this world is wicked. Going to church, being in Christianity, Islam, so-called wokeism or spiritual enlightenment, things of that nature, that's not of the Most High, right? That is not of the Most High, but that's of man, right? And that stuff that's portrayed as being light is darkness. And the Lord said, have no relationship with the unfruitful works of darkness, right? Let me get this precept real quick in Job if I can find it real quick. Right, bear with me real quick. What's that precept? Salakia. I'm in Psalms, right? Let me get this precept in Job real quick. Right, it's the book of Job, chapter 10 and verse number 22, and it reads, right, it says, a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of a shadow of death, without any order, and where light is as darkness. So this is the land of darkness as itself, and even the light is portrayed as darkness. It's darkness, man. Right? The wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding of this world is full of darkness, man. Right? Because there's, like it said, you got these wicked pastors and preachers and all type of wickedness, in the world, that they're trying to teach you, hey, this is the way to God. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that to get to God. It don't matter who you love, man and man, woman and woman, children. All type of wickedness, man. You can smoke weed and still serve the Lord. You can be a drunkard, whatever it is. It's full of madness, man. And these things are going to increase further and further and further, even so much that, it's going to be hard to discern the truth in these last days if you're not walking in the laws of the Most High, which is the truth. So it's going to be hard to decipher or determine which way you should go if you're not guided by the light of the Most High. Right? This is where the light is. Right? In the scriptures. Right? I'm going to get that real quick and then I'm going to go to Matthew. Right? This is the book of Proverbs. Right? This is the book of Proverbs. Chapter 6 and verse number 23. And it reads, for the commandment is a lamp and the law is light. And reproofs of instruction are the ways of life. So to be reproved in this world, to be on a good foot or the right path to the Most High and the kingdom is the commandments. It's the lamp through a dark place, right? To keep you from evil ways and things that this world has to portray, right? So it will keep you in right standing with your eyes forward, that you cannot look left to right and be deceived. But the Lord said this in Matthew, right? I just want to get a few. I don't want to be too long-winded. But this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse number 24. And it reads, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if there were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So, if it were possible, it's going to be so much wickedness on the earth. If it were possible, it will be able to deceive the very elect, man. The chosen of the Most High. That's how much wickedness is going to be on the earth. That's why the Lord said this, jumping up 2 verses. It says, and except those days should be shorted, right? There shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And that's all praises to the Most High, that the days are coming, to an end. He's speeding up the time. That's why it's important to be watching and understand the time that you're living in, so you can know what you ought to be doing and what ought not to be doing in these last days. And what you should be doing is following hard after Yahweh Shai, right? Deterring, the evil blockades, the sins, the wickedness, the evil personnel that you were once surrounded with, right? But gathering with those that are, with the Most High. Be continually with a godly man, one that thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Most High, right? Gathering together in these last days as commanded with those that are like-minded, man. Because, like I said, it's so much wickedness going on, and being made in this flesh, we're subject to those things. We're created in vanity. And it's very easy to be swayed and tossed to and fro with wickedness because your flesh is weak. But your spirit is indeed willing to serve the Lord. So you must fight the flesh in these last days and cleave on to hope. That's one thing that endurance goes into. Hoping that the Lord is going to save you. And that's faith. Knowing that the Most High is going to save you if you continue to do the right thing, man. Is to keep these commandments. Right? And have the faith of a Mashiach Yahushua, whom the world calls Christ. Right? So just always keep that in mind. Stay focused and endure. Right? Endure. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, man. Right? Stand in Matthew chapter 24 and verse number 13. It says, but he that endured unto the end, the same shall be saved. So always remember that. That's a classic precept. That's one of my favorite precepts to remind me the only way I'm going to make it out of this place is I have to endure. I have to keep fighting. If I fall, I have to get back up. There's no other way around it. The end is not yet, but it is nigh. Right? But with that, hope that was edifying. Right? Take these precepts and apply it to your life and continue to endure, Israel, in these last days. Shalom.